Welcome to And Here's Modi. We are here today. It's me and my guest, and it's Arthur Luxenberg. Welcome back. I can't tell you how many people loved the episodes you were on, and everywhere we go, where people know you say, "When is Arthur coming back?" One guy, I'm horrible with names, you know that, but in the meet and greet said, "I went to law school with him, and I heard his voice. I felt like I was in law school again. I felt like I was 23 years old in law school, and I'm so happy." So I recently began to learn how to use ChatGPT. So this is what I put in for an introduction and questions with you. This is what I wrote today. This is my first time really using ChatGPT. Okay. I wrote, "I'm the #1 Jewish comedian in the world. I have a podcast called And Here's Modi. Today, our guest is a friend that I have met later in life, which I always think is a special thing to meet friends later in life. His name is Arthur Luxenberg. He is a partner at Whites and Luxenberg law firm, which also is a sponsor of our podcast. Arthur and I share a miraculous journey because we are both stutterers and work in a field that would never think stutterers would work in. I'm a comedian, and he's a court attorney and a law attorney." I don't know how to say what you do exactly. This episode will be airing during Passover. Arthur will be at a Passover program in Florida, and I'll be doing 2 shows in Mexico. The Passover programs are special, unique, niche events that happen in the Jewish world. Please give me 5 questions to ask him. I don't like any of the questions, by the way. But that was it. That's a good introduction, no? No? Periel just gave me a...
That was pretty good information that you fed into there. You'd think they would come up with 5 good questions. Give me one.
One of the questions that they gave?
Yeah, give me just one.
They went for the stuttering stuff. I don't have it.
So much for that.
So much. No, I'm learning. I'm learning how to use GPT.
Really?
How are you?
Great. I'm great. Really good to be here again.
This is going to air Passover.
Nice.
Next Wednesday.
Beautiful.
Yeah, in the middle of all the Pesach programs. Those of you who don't know what that is, how do you even begin to describe a Passover program?
By the way, is that going to get the full impact airing this over Passover?
Yeah.
It will be.
The fans know Wednesday this comes out. Fans come on, they listen to it, they plan like a walk around it, they plan cooking around it. The people tell us when they listen to this. Good. It's like when they drive, they put this on. It's like it helps them just relax. It gives them a pause from life. Listening to our shtus, our nourishkeit makes them happy.
Fantastic.
Which I love it.
Fantastic.
I love it. And yeah. So
how do you prepare? I'll tell you how we prepare. We have a moving company come. They pick up everything in the house and they move it into a couple of hotel rooms, either upstate New York or Miami, or in our case, in Palm Beach.
You're going to be in Palm Beach?
Be in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
It's where we've been for many, many years. Our entire family's there. We're over 40 people now, and it's really an incredible time.
So 40 people are at this Passover program. I've been to his table. So 2 or 3 years ago, I performed at this event, and we get there, and Arthur's like, "You're eating with us, you're staying with us, the whole thing with us." 40 people. Leo's still new to Passover programs. We show up, and it's just Jews and food, and it's so unhinged. And people who don't understand how crazy Passover programs are, you can't explain it to them. We get to your table. Randy shows up in pink pajamas and fluffy shoes, all like Chanel. Everything is like thousands of dollars, but and her own water bottle and her own Snapple. Kosher for Passover Snapple, things that they don't have in the program.
Right. I hope it was kosher for Passover.
Whatever it was, she came with it, and she's like, "Hi Leo, hi Modi, we're right here." And we sit down with her, and it's nice for me when I have family at like a program like this, and you were there. It was like having family there.
It was a little bit different than the first time we met at a Passover program, which was at the hotel upstate, the Rytown Hilton.
So during Passover, people who are well-to-do go to nice hotels and destinations, all kinds of places in Mexico and all of that. And then there's people who go to the Rye Hotel in upstate, and that's because they really it's less expensive, but more it's like either they have a parent that's too old to travel, or their daughter-in-law is like in her 9.5 month
That's
about-
typically
Yeah.
That's typically what it is. It really wasn't the money because the price was almost the same. I mean, you had to pay for airfare, when you went to
Right.
Florida, but going to Westchester, where the program at the Hilton was, it was really because there was a reason that you had to be there. And one of the fun things is you'd see people either in the dining room or at the Minion, and so why are you here?
So why are you here?
So why are you here? And someone would say, oh, my mother couldn't travel, or my daughter was pregnant, exactly what you said. Or you had to be, during the intermediate days, during Chol HaMoed,
Yeah, somewhere.
you had to be at work. There was always a reason you were there. It couldn't just be because it was a great program.
Right. Which also, by the way, one of the talking points we have for today. Since the last time we spoke, I told you that I've realized people that have law degrees and don't practice law talk about, like, they always introduce whatever they do. Like, I'm an interior decorator, but I went to law school. I have a law degree. They tell you that. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, the whole practicing of law is an anomaly in and of itself. Practicing law,
Right.
When do you ever get it right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what happens. A lot of people have law degrees, but never do end up going in and working in the law for various reasons. There's a family business.
Right.
They can't get a good enough job, and that's something else that we should really be talking about. But that's a very common thing that people go to law school.
But I don't walk around saying, hi, I'm a comedian, but I have a degree in psychology from BU. I don't say that. People with the law degree put that, I have a law degree. I have a law. Recently, this happened to me too. I went to get my orthotics, and the doctor's a great doctor, Dr. Cement, and his husband runs the practice. Because I guess he was a lawyer, quit. Now he runs this practice. And within the first two interactions we had, he was telling me, I'm a lawyer too. I was a lawyer, but now I run this practice. It was funny. I called him up. I said, I need to make an appointment for this. He goes, my name is Moti Rosenfeld. He goes, we just saw you at the Vieques. My parents are seeing you in Florida. So that was right away. It was already family. Okay, it's already family. And I get there and we start talking right away. I was a law degree. He goes, I was the attorney for Enron. Luckily, I'm old enough to know what the hell he's talking about. But that was but that's a thing. Lawyers always talk about being lawyers. They don't just it's a thing. I don't know. It's a thing.
But what's the typical reason, that a person goes to law school, spends 3 years, and then doesn't go into law? And I think that the answer is, when you go to medical school, you learn how to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And typically, you become a doctor and you're working in that profession for the rest of your life. When you go to law school, a lot of people don't know what they want to go into. They know they want some kind of professional degree, or their parents want them to have some kind of advanced degree, or their grandparents want them to, which was my case, right? They wanted me to be a doctor, but that didn't work out. But so you go to law school because you don't know what you want to do. Okay. You waste a bunch of money and you waste time. And then you decide, what kind of job can I get? And if you don't get a good enough job, or it's not something that really appealed to you, because you don't learn in law school how to be a lawyer. You learn how to think. You learn how to approach things, but you don't learn the practical kind of things that you actually do once you become a lawyer and once you're working in a law firm. Whereas in medical school and in those kind of other things, you actually learn how to be a doctor and do those kind of things in your residency, in your internship, whereas in law, you don't.
Yeah. You and I recently had dinner together, and we were driving home, and we passed by the building where you used to work. So you and I were chatting. You didn't really see where we were, and I turned off the highway. What's that building?
Woolworth Building.
Woolworth Building.
Yeah.
Woolworth Building.
It's a good memory.
And I saw you had an amazing memory. So we're driving by. I'm giving him a ride home, and we drive by I just by chance, that's where Waze took me, and we passed by the building. All of a sudden, you look up and you see this building, and you just had a moment, and you go, "I worked so hard in that building." You're like, what came over you when we drove by that building?
Moti, it honestly, I don't know exactly if you remember, what we did before that building was, before we passed by that building, you went on for about 15 minutes in one of your underground locations to practice
Yeah,
new material.
he came to the comedy cellar. He
Right.
came to the comedy cellar.
And what wasn't lost on me was being with one of my best friends. We're going to get a bite to eat after.
Yeah.
Right? He must have done 3 or 4 shows that week, flying all over the country.
Yeah.
And yet he's taken 10 minutes to practice new material.
Yeah.
And that's never something that you ever lose, working hard, putting in that kind of energy.
Yeah.
So it was really fortuitous that we then pass the building that I first learned, that I first became a lawyer in the Woolworth building, and I spent so much time and made so little money, but put in such an enormous effort when it first began my career. And it honestly had a lot of good memories. And, that's really what launched that conversation about, people think like you're just successful, that Modi just is a talented guy that one day just got on a stage and just became enormously successful. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way for anybody. An enormous amount of training, of time, of effort, of failures, many failures go into the magic of what ultimately becomes success, if you measure success in that way. And my kids always needle me, Dad, success is not financial success. It could be success in so many different ways. And they're right. Success could take on many different forms. If you're successful in a community and you're doing charity work, or you're successful with a family, or you're successful in anything that brings you tremendous joy, that measures success, not just financial success. So passing the Woolworth building that night was really, just a moment for me.
Yeah. I saw it. I saw it in your eyes. You're like, you literally stopped and go, I was in there till 1 a.m. every 1 a.m. every day.
Very often later than 1. Yeah. I would take a subway.
So when did you move to the building you're in now? Those of you who don't know, Arthur Luxenberg is a part of Whites and Luxenberg. He's the Luxenberg of Whites and Luxenberg, and an unbelievable law firm in New York City. And when did you move to the building? The building you have now is insane.
So that building, Modi, we continued to work downtown.
Right.
It was a building that was originally called the Continental Building, which was on Maiden Lane.
Yes.
And we were in that building for about 20 years. Twice. We started out in that building. We left. We were working for another firm when we were in the Woolworth building. But when we moved, we moved to a little tiny office in the Continental Building, 2,000 square feet.
Oh my God.
Right. We now have 100. But we were in 2,000 square feet.
Oh my God.
We were in basically...
What kind of law were you doing?
We're doing the same thing. Personal injury type of law, which is where the asbestos litigation really began and where we began doing the kind of mass torts that we did. But we only had 2,000 square feet. It was a tiny little space, and we grew from there. And we left that building shortly thereafter, and we went to a different building downtown, always downtown in the Wall Street area,
right,
until the rents really went up very, very high. And we decided many years later to buy a building. So it was really only 20 years. 20 years.
Only 20 years. Only 20 years.
20 years. Yeah.
Only 20 years.
Right.
Now you're saying only 20 years.
Right.
Back then, those 20 years seemed like a lifetime. 20 years is a lifetime.
It is a lifetime.
20 years is a lifetime.
Right. And we're in the current building that we're in also for about 20 years.
So so before I met you, I knew who you were, and I knew you were with the asbestos guy. So I get on stage, and I took a drink of water because there was a little drama before I got on stage with the microphone, and there wasn't good sound. And Randy popped out of her chair. Little Randy comes running out to the guy who's running the event. He needs good sound. He can't just go on stage. And they brought me this gold microphone. Remember the gold microphone?
Of course.
And I start the show, and I go...
Right.
I go, oh, mesothelioma, Arthur, I think we have a case.
Right.
That's how I started the show.
Right.
That's how I started the show.
I remember
and you just buckled and you go, this is going to be good.
I remember.
Yeah.
It was very, very funny.
It was good.
Right.
But 20 years.
Free advertising.
Free advertising, yes.
Right. That's great.
It's so good.
It's great.
What other topics did we decide we're going to talk about here? Oh, Vieques. Oh my God. So I want to talk to you. So I was thinking about during this thing is airing during the Passover program season. And I want to tell you, I think there's nobody in the world that's been to more Passover programs than me. I've been to, there's
And different
years-
ones.
Different ones, of course.
Yeah.
There's years, I remember I flew to 4 different ones. I would do a show in Florida, go to Arizona, from Arizona to Aspen. And one year it was Florida, Arizona, Aspen, and then Vieques. You remember there's a program in Vieques? It's like an island that's off of Puerto Rico.
No, I don't know.
It was an island off of Puerto Rico or somewhere like that. You had to get on a prop plane to get on there.
Right.
And they had to get all the Jews out there, so like with their luggage. So like each one was on his own plane. And they got there, and the guy that ran the program didn't do a good job. And there was no food. And they were abandoned on the island. And I showed up like on day 7, you know, before they go back into the other. And there was like a lot of people showed up there. A lot, the big rabbis he had there, but it was supposed to be a big deal, but it ended up a big bomb on this island. And you couldn't get food. It's not like you're in Puerto Rico. It's a mess. And then the microphone they had for me was a six foot to a wall. That's where I was performing. But it was a great show. And they loved it because they were dying over there. It was a big, anybody that was on the Vieques Passover program, we should have a support group meeting. People they were traumatized. People were traumatized by this Passover program. They thought, oh, this is it. This is the next level of Passover programs. Vieques, this Vituchas, it's in the middle of nowhere. We know it was a disaster. But I've been to every program, big, small, large, far away, in, travel, Mexico, Aruba. Every year I would do 2 or 3 programs.
But now you're stationed in one place the whole time.
No, we're doing 2 shows in Mexico.
Right.
And it's because it's next to each other.
Right.
I wasn't going to do it this year. Leo said he'll do it. He was going to go.
And do the show.
And no, but just to come with me.
Oh.
I can't go into this thing now. And so Leo said, okay, we'll do this our last year. We'll do these programs. And I love them. It's so free. You understand that to perform at these programs, it's like being in the Catskills again. No?
Depends on the program, but
They're
I
eating-
can see how that could be. You know, you're waiting all day for your next meal.
All day.
The omelet stations,
Oh.
you know, the tea rooms, right? Right? Don't you judge every program by how long you have to wait online for your omelet and what kind of tea room they have?
That's the soul of Passover.
The omelet stations or the tea room?
No, what Passover's all about.
Is
These
the tea room.
Pretzel programs. No, it's really not. It's about changing your ego. But yeah, everybody's there. It's the opposite of what you should be doing on Passover, is going to these Passover programs, right?
I haven't stayed home in a long time. So I think the last time.
Spiritually,
Yeah. But
Passover, there's nothing going on there. No?
spiritually at the programs?
Yeah. You're all day long busy with the food. When are you going to feed us?
There's not a lot of spirituality.
Okay, so
Right.
that's what I was getting.
Definitely true.
You have a few of the kids that became extra religious, like more religious than family. And they're walking around with the white shirt and a Gemara in their hands, with the
Yeah,
Talmud.
it
They're
happens.
walking around. They're looking to they want everybody to see that they're carrying a Talmud.
Right.
Everybody else is in bathing suits, butt naked, running around to the pool. But he's walking around with a Talmud because he was a year in Israel and became really religious. And now he's walking around with the Talmud for this year. By the next year, he's not.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Right.
And next year,
But
he's
you're right.
That's
Every
true.
family has a couple.
Yeah,
Right.
that became ultra. Yeah, it was really funny because we sat at your table, and is it your mom or was it your mom? No, it wasn't your mom. It was somebody else's mom at the table. Came over to me and goes, "I'm a big fan of yours," and
Maybe my sister-in-law's mother.
she came over, very lovely lady.
Right.
Lovely lady. She lives in New Jersey. And she goes,
She's great.
she's great. And she said to me, I'm a big fan of your work and this and that. And that's very nice to meet you. And I'm glad to see you're here with Arthur and Randy. And I said, this is my husband. And she goes, I didn't know you were such a metropolitan person. That's what she said.
Is that what she said?
Yeah, maybe. She said, yeah, metropolitan. I remember I was dying from that.
That's a shout out to Bubs.
Bubs, yeah. And you guys didn't let her come to the show because of COVID.
Maybe she didn't want to go to the show.
She wanted. Her family didn't let her go because they were scared. Everybody was still in the room. It was a tight room.
It's a feeder. It's a feeder.
Yeah,
You know,
it was a feeder.
Yeah.
It was a feeder.
It still is. Any of those places, after a wedding or after, you not only, somebody gets sick and spreads it around,
Yeah.
Spreader.
So still, it was still fresh back then, the COVID. Now I don't think anybody cares.
Right.
Yeah. What else you got for us? The episodes we did, people loved them and called and they got help. And every time everybody called that institution,
Right.
I sent you all the information
Right.
just so you know that people were getting help and people were enjoying the episodes.
So you know the difference between you and me,
Yeah.
okay? So, and I said it, during our last podcast, I had a lot of therapy.
Yeah.
Meaning I went through years of therapy, really formalized type of therapy. You never did. Your stuttering was different. And I think it depends on, the quality of how you stutter. Meaning I listened to tapes of myself going back 40 years, not 40, 50 years when I was 10 years old. And I didn't remember how difficult it was, but I couldn't speak. And I don't think you were ever in. How was your stuttering when you were growing up?
It was a thing. It was about, I knew how to not speak or to prepare my line before hitting them with it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We all have our tricks.
Yeah.
We all have our ways of getting around things, but I learned it in a more formalized way. But, I just want to say that, there's two different ways that people view stutterers or people view the whole stuttering community. And it probably comes from the point of view of parents. They want to shelter their kids. They don't want their kids to be exposed to any ridicule or any people who don't understand it, or can't you get your words out, or people being made fun of or bullying. So they insulate them in a way that they're never exposed, or in their younger years. And when they get a little bit older, even during high school, they go to stuttering camps. Yeah. Like we spoke about. There's a very good camp that kids go to, or there's stuttering support groups. Whereas my view was, get as much help as you can. Yeah. There's help out there. And it's very important. You're not always going to be able to go to a camp for stutterers. You're not always going to be able to be in an environment where all your friends are only going to be stutterers.
Right.
And if that's the only place that you're exposed to through high school and you go to college, you're going to be in a very, very difficult environment that you're emotionally not going to be able to handle. So I advocate, and I might take criticism for this, and we'll see the comments from your people that are watching this. But I'm of the opinion that do whatever you can to get the therapy that you can to get to a point where you're more fluent. I don't want to say where you get better or you get well. We never, as I'm sitting here, as you're sitting here, I could have blocked and stuttered on 50 different words.
Yeah.
But I know what I'm going to block on. I know what I'm going to stutter on. And it's through my training that I got around it.
So you come to see me at the Comedy Cellar working on the new material, and you see how I get stuck. I go with it. I go with it. But you see, compared to the show I'm doing now, Pause for Laughter. We're on tour with Pause for Laughter, and you saw it in Fort Lauderdale,
right?
And it was like, I got to tell a story. Arthur came to see me at the Beacon and went into a coma.
Oh, God.
Arthur went into a coma. What the hell did you have that night? Vertigo?
I had vertigo.
You had vertigo. So Randy didn't come backstage.
Yeah.
And there's nobody backstage from his party. And that's usually where he is. So I go, Randy, everything okay? He goes, Arthur's in a coma. Have fun tonight. Literally. And Arthur was like this. He was some vertigo. And you didn't catch any of the show.
No, I took a pill. I took meclizine.
Okay.
It's like something that you take and it makes you very tired. But I guess I wasn't eating. I was tired from this meclizine.
Yeah.
I was probably dehydrated. I literally passed out.
I know.
I sat in the show completely
crazy
out of it. And by the way, you think like someone says, oh, he passed out. Like, no, you don't understand. I was passed out.
I know.
The people I was with, very dear friend, literally had to carry me out.
Oh my God.
It was insane that I was so affected by this vertigo and, you know.
But it's Mashiach energy because you came and you saw the show fresh in Fort Lauderdale. And by then I already done 4 or 5 shows. So the show really like tightened and got better, and I moved things around, and we had the pretzels in the back of the, wow.
By the way, you ever want to get me, a hot pretzel?
That's
a
it.
fresh hot pretzel? Not one of those, you know, there's like a chain of like hot pretzel places. I don't like those.
Me neither.
Okay?
It stinks.
I don't like the chain of hot pretzel places. I don't want to mention the names of the chain.
It's in the airport. It stinks the whole place up.
It starts with an A. It starts with an A. I don't want to mention the name.
A? Okay.
It starts with an A. Yeah, it starts with an A.
Okay.
Okay?
I don't know the name of it. I hate those pretzels.
I hate those pretzels.
I like the ones we had at the
They have all these
Parker
different
Playhouse.
flavors.
Oh.
Yeah, whose pretzels were those?
Whoever it was.
No,
it
was
so
that
delicious.
theirs? I thought maybe you
theirs.
brought them for me.
No, I walked into the theater. You throw your eyes in the, you know, what's going on there. And then it's a beautiful theater. It's gorgeous. It's redone. Parker Playhouse in Fort Lauderdale. And they had like the where you buy food and drinks and all that. What's it called? The
Concession.
The concession.
Like password. The game password.
So I see these pretzels dingling around, and I was mesmerized. For me, when a pretzel going
By the
like
way,
that,
that dingling.
that's like when they do
you see that's
that
you know,
hypnosis.
Yeah.
I said to Leo, we're walking in. I go, Leo, make sure they get the pretzels back. Make sure we get the pretzels back on stage. But they bring us the pretzels, and I said, bring one for my father. He was coming to the show too, and my father didn't even get through the lobby. He bought it himself. He wasn't going to walk by those pretzels. He comes back eating one. I had one waiting for him. Pretzel with Diet Coke is next level of my favorite food.
Okay,
a pretzel and Diet Coke.
Do you know, it's like a dying thing, the pretzel, right? Not at like bar mitzvahs and the Parker Playhouse, by the way. Insane, hot, beautiful, fresh pretzels. But somehow today, I love buying a pretzel on the street with a Diet Coke. Okay, like after a game, or you're walking around, it's 11 o'clock at night, you get a hot pretzel, there's nothing greater.
If it's hot. At those carts?
Yeah, of course.
But you gotta talk to the guy.
Okay, but they're not. That's what I'm trying to say. They used to have them like on.
They don't have them anymore.
That's what I'm trying to say.
It's wet and just come out of the frozen.
Right. And
awful.
even when they have them, they'll take it from like underneath. They'll throw it on some hot plate or something. Horrible.
With his hands that he has nowhere to wash.
Horrible.
Right. No, but these pretzels, this is crazy. No, so let's get into this. Pretzel is really, what is it? A bagel.
Yeah.
From the old days, from like Poland and all that. It's a bagel.
You like it with salt?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Me too. A little bit.
Yeah.
Lightly salted. Sometimes I get it with a lot of salt. I shake it off. You know, just like I give it like a shake like that, right? And some salt falls off, and that's positive. And by the way, it's the best like when you're with a couple of people, all right, and they want like a section of it. A pretzel's like perfect for sharing.
You can just rip off.
It's not like a piece of cake or something. You have to. No, you rip off a section of it.
Yeah. So Leo realized that I have this thing for pretzels, and we were in the house in Connecticut, and he loves to go shopping in there's a big supermarket there. So he buys everything, and he knows what those pretzels are. And for him, I'm like, free, but he can make them. You buy them and you heat them, and so he just.
I know. Yeah, the ones in a box.
Yeah,
they're great.
They're amazing.
By the way, there's salt in there also.
So Leo walks by, like he didn't tell me he bought them, and he just hands me this pretzel and a Diet Coke and walks into the bedroom. I'm like, I'm in heaven. I'm in. Oh my God!
Right.
Is this happening?
Right.
I'm in a house in Connecticut.
Was that foreplay?
Well, it was. By the way, it's the orgasm. The pretzel with a Diet Coke is wow. It's next level. It's just so good. It just mushes in your mouth so good.
By the way, you got to be careful with those. You got to set the microwave for the right amount of time.
Who microwaves that? He puts that in that little oven he has. That little oven. He has a little oven. Yes. Leo takes care of me. You crazy?
I never even thought of that.
There's no microwave.
Oh, no.
Too moist. It loses the hard shell. The pretzel has to have a little bit of a crunch to the shell.
I'm learning something here.
You know that. If it's mushy.
No, Modi.
Yeah, the little oven.
I take the thing, I stick it in the microwave, I put it on 12 seconds, I get that salt out, I put it in, and that's it.
That's what goyim do. That's
Whoa,
what goyim
you're
do.
saying put it in the oven.
In the oven.
Oh my God, it's a game changer.
It's a game changer. It's a complete game changer. It's so good.
It's like the one in the Parker Playhouse.
It's that because it's on that heat, and that heat is coming from those lights. They have those light bulbs in the little thing that's spinning around.
In the hypnosis.
In the hypnosis.
Yeah.
Pretzel hypnosis. Pretzel hypnosis. And there's your title for the episode.
Right.
Pretzel hypnosis.
It's great.
It's what it was.
It's
now,
great.
this is what people listen to this podcast for. Exactly what we just talked about.
Because it's all about nostalgia.
It's nostalgia, but it's also like there's no politics in a pretzel. And everybody loves a pretzel.
That's right. Right. You know how many people are going to comment, yeah, how did Luxenberg not know that you put this in an oven? Well, you put it in a microwave because you can't wait. It's like
your daughter, who's a bakery chef. Doesn't she do that for you?
I call her out on it. I call her out. Jack Snacks, my daughter. Shout out to her.
Yeah.
She doesn't make me any fresh pretzels,
No.
and she also never like corrected, the microwave routine.
It's not even an issue in microwave. It's too moist. No, it has to be in a little bit of an oven. Yeah, Jack Snacks she sent a beautiful Purim.
I saw you posted.
We posted it. It was
Beautiful.
delicious, and it came right on time.
I love that.
When the package comes and you already have a coffee in your hand, all of a sudden, ding dong,
Right.
and like these beautiful
great is
cookies,
that?
you just dink right in and you eat it. It's so good.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to her, and also shout out to your other daughter.
Yes. Yes. Right. See, there's a perfect example.
Speaking of lawyers,
Yes. Speaking of lawyers.
She wants to be a lawyer like she wants to be an orthodontist. Okay? So she's got a law degree.
Right. Yeah.
She got a law degree. She killed
Yeah.
it. She killed it with the law degree.
Yeah.
And now she's doing stand-up. She did, and you
did an open mic yesterday.
You went to her
of course
first
I did.
stand-up show.
Of course it did. And by the way, she calls me last night. I didn't even know about it. She did an open mic.
Yeah.
She did an open mic.
Told me.
4:00 in the afternoon. That's what I mean by just doing it. Working hard, nobody to really watch you.
You texted me after you saw her first show.
Yeah, what did I say?
I remember. I go, it was good. 2 different shows, two different performances. You said, I don't know if she'll do it again. I said, oh, wow, is he delusional? She caught the bug.
Caught the bug. She does it any place she'll get a mic.
Yeah.
We were in Vegas. She was looking for open mic places.
Just so we understand that her material is not for a Passover program. just so that is on the line. Those of you looking for this.
Although she told me, for anybody interested, she told me that she's going to be hosting a little side corner in the tea room at the hotel.
Good for her.
Anybody that needs advice on anything thinks that she could be relevant in their life.
Good for her. Good for her. Yeah, her act's gonna clean up, because the cleaner she gets, the more people she can get in front of. So that's gonna be the next time you and I sitting here again, you'll see there'll be a different, your 2 girls, 3 girls, Randy too.
By the way, and Randy's the brunt of all of it. Most of the good jokes are about Randy.
Yeah.
Of course, me
But she
too.
loves it too. She loves it too. She loves it.
She claims she doesn't.
Yeah, no, she loves it.
The more attention,
Yeah.
Right.
My mom also have been talking about her a lot.
Very low-key person.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. Thank God we have them to talk about.
But in any event, we were talking about stuttering, and I said, and we were talking about how I feel about it, and about helping people, who want help.
Yeah.
Right? Who want to be able to become more fluent. You never get well. You never get cured. Modi and I are not cured, or we're never going to be. It'll be something that we always have.
And it attacks you out of nowhere. Sometimes Leo catches it. Like he sees I'm dealing with maybe somebody behind the reception or something with that, and I get caught, and he knows how to finish the sentence.
And there are some letters, and there are some words, and there are some phrases, even if it starts with the wrong letter.
Yeah.
I have issues with certain blended letters. Modi has his own issues. We laugh about what he stutters on and what I stutter on are 2 different things. But anyway, I said that I met a guy I met a general manager at a great restaurant in Aruba where we had dinner. And the general manager was what appeared to me to be a very chronic stutterer, where he wasn't controlled, he wasn't fluent at all. And he was a stutterer. And after dinner, I spoke to him and I asked him a few questions. I told him that I was also a stutterer. And at the end of the conversation, I asked him if he had gotten any help, and he said no. And he just wasn't in that position. I offered to pay for therapy for him if that's something that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He never did get back to me. And we started talking about chesed with Periel, and I said that for me, the best kind of chesed is chesed that I could feel, where I'm so connected to it that the concept of giving feels so much better. Sure, we want to give to FIDF. We want to give to these incredible charities that came out of October 7th. But if I know that there's a family 3 miles away from me, and there are 3 miles away from where I live in Great Neck, or a mile away, I know because we're involved in organizations that deliver food to people. And we're actually delivering food to people that live less than a mile from where we live. If I know that there are people that need help, whether it's stuttering, whether it's food, whether it's any kind of help, that it's so important to be able to challenge that need that's so close to you, where you could really be impactful and see the benefit of what you're doing and what you're giving. Yeah. And Periel told me about, her charity and what's important to her. And I know, Modi, your charity. And that's the best way. There are a lot of people that could build buildings, and we've built buildings. There are a lot of people that could have their names up on things. But the most important and the most impactful things that we could ever do are the things that we could feel and touch and impact directly.
So chesed is, those who don't know, the meaning of it is to give, but it's to give with love. It's one of the sfirot.
Nadiv Lev.
Yeah.
A Nadiv Lev. It's not something that's made up or rabbis told us. No, it's directly in the text.
Chesed, see what it says.
But it's right in the
compassion.
But it's right in the text that give it with
love.
If you're not giving it, and on the Rambam's 8 levels of charity, it's the way you give that's everything.
Of course.
Anyone could write a check, but if you give it with an open heart and an open hand, that's the most important way.
And giving without anybody knowing too.
That's the highest level.
That's the highest level. Yes.
You don't know who you're giving it to. They don't know who's giving it to them.
Right.
And it's an unbelievable way.
And this is Passover. This is airing Passover. This is a definite time to hit the charities up and give it to them. Passover is such a big opening for receiving amazing energy.
Right. You open the Seder. One of the first things you say, Kol Dechvin. Everybody who's needy, everybody who's hungry. By the way, needy is not only hungry, is not poor. Needy takes on meaning in a lot of different ways. A person could be needy and could be rich.
Very rich.
But he doesn't have a place to go.
And doesn't have a friend, and doesn't have compassion from a wife, or doesn't have any laughter in his life. He's needy for that. Just because he has billions of dollars in a big house and fancy cars, it doesn't mean he's not needy.
And the biggest question that I ask...
And we're all needy for something. We all need something.
The biggest question that I ask every single year is, right, we're saying this, we're home from shul. Any opportunity that we could have invited someone over is gone. We're sitting at a Seder in a hotel where we're spending thousands of dollars. You're saying Kol Dechvin Yetevi Yechal? How?
So
how are you doing that? Where are you inviting them?
Oh, Arthur, that's the easiest question you've ever asked. And you're in a Passover program, you sit next to some kid who's in law school, who's asking you information, give him some time, talk to him, encourage him. That's the same thing.
But that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a chidush. What an incredible piece of information.
Yeah.
You're saying it's got nothing to do with food.
Nothing to do with
Got
food or
nothing to
money.
do-
It's giving your of yourself. Yeah, giving.
In
It's
a
the hardest
Passover
thing.
program with rich people.
Yeah.
Right. Find something. You
Yeah.
could do it. You could do it. You could find something.
Of course,
But
always find something.
But my
Create Mashiach energy. That's Mashiach energy.
By the way, what an unbelievable concept, okay, for us to hammer in. But for me, right, my answer always was, I prepared for this kol dichfin, okay, halachma. I prepared for it. I gave it before, okay? So when it comes time for it, okay, if there's nobody around, the Passover program for me to invite in,
Yeah.
if there's nobody happens to be there, passing through, I did it already. I paid for people. I paid for matzah. I paid for people to have meals and seders.
Yeah.
I did it already.
So money is energy. Here's some energy to these people, but your time speaking to them. Call my secretary. She'll help you with this and that. That's also giving. It's a different giving.
I don't want that concept to be lost on this group that we're going to be talking to over Passover. And you don't have to be in a Passover program. You could be anywhere.
Anywhere.
We're all going to say that, halachma.
Right.
And we're all going to wonder, well, where are these poor people that I'm inviting in? You hear what he said, guys? It's not about the food or inviting someone in. It's you're sitting next to someone. You get a call. You have an opportunity to help somebody.
Yeah.
Use it.
Yeah.
Right. If you're lucky enough, right? And I saw this in a situation which I'm going to talk about. If you're lucky enough that you could help somebody,
Help.
wow.
Yeah.
Right. Because
sure.
that won't always be there.
I have a friend that lives in Great Neck, and he tells me people come asking for money. So I said to him, when they do that, the first thing you do is say, "Thank you, God. Thank you, God."
That's the opportunity.
But it's also thank God that I'm the one that people are coming to ask money. I'm not the one asking for money. I said to him, say thank God right away, and then deal with the problem, whatever the situation is in whatever you think is the right way. But always be thankful that you're the one people are coming to ask for money.
And I think I said it. I don't know if it was here or in some other context, but when I pray, make me a giver.
Yeah.
Today. Make me a giver. Make me find important things to give. Make me a giver. And you know what? That's what makes it better for us. So I was at a baseball game.
Okay.
And I was sitting in very good seats.
I'm sure.
And a very famous player was a few seats down in a row in front of me. And a little kid comes to him, for an autograph. And the baseball player blows him off.
Oh, wow.
And then the father of the baseball player even comes over and says, could you sign this for this kid? And little tiny kid, the cutest thing in the world. This is I'm not saying it's a has-been player, but he's a has-been player.
Okay.
Okay? It's past him. Okay? Won't sign it. And in fact, really is dismissive of the father and the kid. Okay? I lean over after this whole thing is over, and I don't care that the guy wants to listen or not. I said, you did something really wrong. I said, let me tell you something. If you were fortunate enough in your life that somebody wants your autograph, they want that's important to them, you are the luckiest man in the world. And the fact that you blew that kid off and then you blew the father off, shame on you.
Yeah.
Right. One day, no one's going to want to know about you. No one's going to want an autograph. If you're lucky enough that you're able to do it now and somebody feels that that's impactful, you do it.
Absolutely. I know you don't listen to the podcast, but in the middle of the podcast, we thank you. And with A&H.
I love that.
A&H provisions,
Right.
lot kosher food that is so delicious, even goyim are going to buy it. They realize it's that good, especially their hot dogs.
Hot dogs. Yeah.
Insane
Right.
hot dogs.
We haven't even touched on that.
Kosherdogs.net.
Right.
30% off on your first order when you use promo code MODI.
How insane is that? You're
What?
so famous, you have a promo code?
Wow. Okay. So, I can't thank you for being.
What? That's it?
Well, you don't forget you went into a tizzy.
On what?
Before the podcast began, you called your friend, who, by the way, I'm not going to mention who he is. It's a guy that's very well off.
Could we cover that?
No.
Could that be in?
He's very well off.
Not well off, but
Well, he has money. He
Yeah.
has a business. He has a family. He's
Yeah.
good. But you gave him Yiddishkeit. You gave him. You gave him the chesed you gave him was not in money.
Yeah.
You gave him. You told him, "Here's you can put on tefillin if you want," and he puts on tefillin. You can make the blessing Friday night, and you gave that to him. You gave him the menu.
He's exceptional.
He's exceptional, but he doesn't need money. But he doesn't. He's needy for something for Yiddishkeit, and you sparked his soul. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Passover. Those of you on your programs, you're still in the 8 days. You can grasp that energy that you get on Passover. Passover, you get the energy on Passover, and then you work it off in the 40 days after with the Omer. On Rosh Hashanah, you work up on Elul the month before, and you get that energy, and boom, you get that on Rosh Hashanah. So that's where you are now. Besides that, chesed, oh my God, buy your friends tickets to see comedy shows, especially mine. I'm on tour with Pause for Laughter. We are going to be in Warsaw, Poland. Can you believe that? Warsaw, Poland, and then Manchester, and then Frankfurt and Munich, because why not? And then Geneva and Antwerp. Reparations tour.
Right.
Reparations tour. Manchester, it's going to be an insane show, huge theater. Destination, make a weekend of it. See you guys there. Get your tickets, modilive.com. Be the friend that brings a friend to the comedy show. And it can't be this long again before you come back on.
No, this is epic every time I'm here.
I love you.
Right.
I absolutely love you. Okay, we're out. Thank you, everybody.